So here I am, I'm just going to run through this again. Diaphragmatic release is absolutely the most important thing. And what you want to be doing when you're doing that release, if you connect it to your breathing, which brings forth all kinds of other neurological benefits. So I highly recommend actually doing it in conjunction with the breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Count when you breathe in, count when you breathe out. Make sure the number is the same thing. I'm just kind of rushing through these. If you want a longer, more elaborate explanation, you can either direct message me. I'll send you a copy of my book that has it all laid out in. You can go back to basics earlier, back to basic Sundays videos where I talk about this more in depth. Make sure your back is free. You don't want to be leaning back or leaning forward. You can sit in a flat chair, but you want to make sure it's flat and so your knees aren't elevated. And practice, practice, practice. Practicing is the most important thing. You practice so that you're really good at it when you actually need it. And so those are the basic ideas with the breathwork practice. I do it first, last thing every day, twice a day, every day, just because I want to be close to when the last time is that I did it, so that it's not something that's far distant. And also adding to that another little ponderable. With everything that's going on right now, I've talked about this before, just want to throw it out once again. The idea that we are going through a grief process in relation to the things that have changed in our lives in response to all the things that are happening right now in our lives is a very, very, very reasonable thing. And if you know grief, you know that it's difficult, and you know that it's taxing and it's tiring, exhausting. And if you're exhausted, there's a reason why. It's not because you're crazy, and it makes perfect sense that you would be exhausted. Check out all the other physiological problems, make sure those are ruled out. There's not something else going on, but absent of all those, the idea of this being related to grief is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And if that, in fact, is the case for you, then consider the sorts of things that you've done in response to grief in the past that have been useful for you. Probably going to be useful for you now. I know that for myself, I'm very much missing being able to perform music out live. The interactions I had with people in my street performance that I was doing for a very, very long time, I've lost those. And so being able to address that in a morning kind of context has been very helpful for me. And one of the most important things about that is talking about it whenever I want to, which I'm also giving you permission to talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about whenever you want to, because we know in the context of grief and also trauma, that's one of the most important things. Not that you have to ask others. I'm talking about you. This is something that you're struggling with and are, kind of thinking about a lot. You having someone to talk to about it as often or frequently as you want to is a perfectly reasonable thing to expect. So those are some things to think about for today. I hope everybody's having a great day. I'm going to go out and do something fun because here in northeastern United States, it's a pretty nice day and it's kind of hot. And so I'm going to go do something. But I hope everyone else is doing well, and I will talk to you tomorrow.